pissed off, man. I'm pissed off. I'm livid. I am livid. Stephanie White, are you drunk? Are you drunk? You doing that stuff? You doing that stuff? I cannot believe Stephanie White had the nerve, the unmitigated gall to say that you are building the Indiana Fever. You are building this team around Kelsey Mitchell. Have you bumped your head? You done lost your mind. You done lost your mind. I knew we could not trust this lady.
The words hit like a gut punch. Stephanie White, Indiana Fever head coach, declared Kelsey Mitchell the #1 priority, stating they would continue to build around her. This wasn't just a misstep, it was an open declaration, completely sidelining the player who revitalized the entire franchise. Fans watched in disbelief as the coach publicly committed to a vision that completely excluded their star. The audacity was staggering. This statement ignited a firestorm, sending shockwaves through the WNBA. It signaled an immediate conflict, a stark betrayal of expectations, and a clear path toward disaster for the Fever. The true implications of her words resonated with a painful clarity for every Caitlin Clark fan.
Welcome to the Bandano Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. The biggest hurdle that Caitlin Clark needs to overcome is her head coach. The biggest obstacle holding Caitlin Clark back from picking up where she left off after her rookie season, after her career at Iowa, the biggest obstacle in the way of her returning to that form is her head coach. Now, we saw Stephanie White lose.
The outrage was instantaneous and visceral. Social media erupted with demands for Caitlin Clark to immediately demand a trade. "We are Caitlin Clark fans," one commentator roared, echoing the sentiment of millions. "Don't get it confused. We don't give a DMN about the Indiana Fever." The message was clear. Loyalty rested solely with Clark, not the team that seemed intent on diminishing her. This wasn't about the Fever's legacy. It was about Clark's future being sabotaged by her own coach. The fanbase felt betrayed, seeing White's comments as a direct affront to the phenom who brought unprecedented attention to the league. The foundation of trust crumbled instantly.
Mitchell, have you bumped your head? You done lost your mind. You done lost your mind. I knew we could not trust this lady. I knew she was a weaseling little snake. I knew we couldn't trust. Caitlin Clark, you better do something. This is wild. Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever are planning on building the team around Kelsey Mitchell. We got Sandy Brondello taking the job as the head coach of the Toronto Tempo. Let's get into all this. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification. Let's roll. Can't stop, won't stop. Keep the Vision records because we...
Stephanie White's pattern of downplaying Caitlin Clark became glaringly obvious. When Clark won an ESPY, White reportedly brushed over the achievement, instead using it as an opportunity to praise past players no one cared about. This wasn't just an oversight, it was a deliberate choice to diminish Clark's accomplishments, refusing to gush over her star player. From suggesting the team was more dangerous without Caitlin to visually expressing frustration on the sidelines after Clark's good plays, White's actions consistently showed a lack of support. Her repeated refusal to fully embrace Clark's impact fueled the narrative that she was an obstacle, not an ally to the young phenom.
Well, when she said the team's more dangerous without Caitlin, okay. When she said that it's a blessing that she's in, okay. But more specifically, when she was asked through the season, once Caitlin Clark won her ESPY award, Stephanie White was asked about this, and instead of boasting about Caitlin Clark, instead of gushing over Caitlin Clark, instead of hyping up her player, she brushed over Caitlin Clark's achievement, and she saw this as an opportunity to bring up players that nobody cared about in the past. Bring up Sue Bird. Yeah, Sue, you're cool. Nah, I don't care. Bring up Tarot. I don't care. Bring up Brianna. Nah, I don't care.
The glaring favoritism towards Kelsey Mitchell and even Odyssey Sims stood in stark contrast to Clark's treatment. Mitchell, a solid player, was consistently given an ultimate green light to shoot, an autonomy Clark could only dream of. Observers noted that Mitchell and Sims got away with things on the court that Clark never would, simply because of White's perceived love for them. This unequal treatment wasn't just about playing style, it exposed a deep-seated bias within the coaching staff actively stifling Clark's natural game. The imbalance created a palpable tension, suggesting a hierarchy that placed their generational talent second.
This whole number one priority thing is pissing me off too. I'm tired of hearing it. No, Caitlin Clark is supposed to be the number one priority. Getting the right people around Caitlin Clark is supposed to be the number one priority. Y'all have lost y'all damn mind. Y'all really think y'all somebody. We not there for y'all. Let's be clear. We don't give a damn about the Indiana Fever. We are Caitlin Clark fans. Don't get it confused. Y'all can go right back to playing in front of 6,000 and 7,000 people in an empty gym again for all we care. Y'all better figure it out.
She's been
We support the Indiana Fever because of Caitlin Clark. So therefore, we are Fever fans for now. Now we love.
This allegiance to Kelsey Mitchell extended beyond Stephanie White. The Fever's president, Kelly Krauskopf, drafted Mitchell years ago and reportedly held a deep-seated loyalty. This wasn't just about team strategy, it was an organizational commitment rooted in past decisions. Krauskopf, having left and returned, seemed driven by a desire to validate her previous tenure and prove her original draft pick was right. This personal investment in Mitchell meant Clark was never truly the singular focus, despite her undeniable impact. The team's power structure was built around historical ties, not future potential, creating a suffocating environment for Clark.
Pointing out lately is that Stephanie White's allegiance to Kelsey Mitchell, Stephanie White's allowance of Kelsey Mitchell to have a green light we could only dream that Caitlin Clark has. And I'm a Money Mitch guy. I'm a Money Mitch, put him in a ditch. I love Money Mitch. But this is true. Kelsey Mitchell's green light is far greener than Caitlin Clark's. Kelsey Mitchell's able to get away with things on the basketball court that Caitlin Clark cannot get away with because of the green light that Stephanie White has given her. Same thing with Odyssey Sims. Odyssey Sims got away with things on the basketball court that Caitlin...
The real motivation behind the Fever's baffling decisions became clear: ego. Kelly Krauskopf's desire for personal vindication, proving her past drafting choices, overshadowed any logical plan for success with Caitlin Clark. She wants credit for finding Kelsey Mitchell, a commentator revealed, highlighting the self-serving nature of the front office. This wasn't about winning championships with Clark, it was about protecting reputations and justifying old calls. The constant effort to correct past behavior and justify previous tenure meant Clark's role was being shaped by internal politics, rather than her unparalleled talent. It was an organizational ego trip at Clark's expense.
She carries the teams in different...
What do you mean she carried the franchise? What you mean she carried? Before Caitlin Clark there, she never sniffed the playoffs. What are you talking about? She carried the franchise. What are you talking about? They had number one picks back-to-back years. What are you talking about, Stephanie White?
different ways. And she deserves the opportunity to do that. I mean, it's close to home. For her, we love her. We want to continue to build, around her and.
I can't believe this shit, bro.
Fans feared Caitlin Clark was being relegated to a Super 2.0 inches role, a secondary option rather than the undisputed leader. Despite her drawing unprecedented ratings and excitement, the Fever's strategy implied she wouldn't get the keys to the offense. The thought of Clark scoring 19 points per game was a nightmare for fans who wanted to see her unleash her full potential, demanding 25 and 12 with the pedal to the metal. This wasn't what anyone tuned in to watch. Her talent was being suppressed, forced to share a spotlight that should have been hers alone, effectively wasting her generational ability.
Has she been to the Fever, obviously the 8 years she's been with the franchise, and how badly do you want to keep her around?
I mean, yeah, she was the number one priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year. She's been so important. And, I said this last year, Kelsey deserves to go through this stage of her Indiana Fever career.
No, she doesn't deserve anything. We're going to stop right there. The part of the Indiana Fever career that Stephanie White is talking about is being the main.
The fear was palpable. The Fever were not building a championship team asterisk around Caitlin Clark, but rather around Kelsey Mitchell, with Clark as a mere supporting act. This Super 2.0 inches scenario, as pundits described it, was a recipe for disaster. No one wanted to see Clark diminished, her explosive offensive game confined to a secondary role. The entire basketball world understood that Clark's appeal lay in her ability to dominate, to drive the offense, and to carry a franchise. Forcing her into a lesser role would not only be a disservice to her talent, but also a catastrophic miscalculation for the entire WNBA.
It's time to get out of there immediately. Get out of there now.
And continue to, for her, we love her. We want to continue to build, around her and continue for her to have success.
When have we ever heard Stephanie White say we gonna continue to build around Caitlin Clark? We ain't heard her say that at all. At all. She wants to build this team around Kelsey Mitchell, and you know what? Let her do it. We take our things and we leave and let you do you, and we can go do us somewhere else. Ultimatum, Caitlin Clark caught.
Amidst the Fever's internal chaos, a game-changing announcement dropped. Sandy Brondello, former New York Liberty head coach, was taking the reins of the expansion Toronto Tempo. Set to debut in the 2026 WNBA season, the Tempo immediately became a beacon of hope for disgruntled Clark fans. Brondello's pedigree and reputation as one of the best coaches in the world instantly made her new franchise an attractive alternative. This wasn't just another coaching hire, it was the creation of a potential new home, a blank slate, offering a stark contrast to the stagnant environment Clark found herself in. The timing felt almost prophetic.
But Stephanie White, you handed the keys to Kelsey Mitchell this season. You didn't hand the keys to Caitlin Clark. At certain times, Caitlin Clark would go into your pocketbook while you were sleeping, steal your keys, and go out for a joyride. Yeah, that would happen occasionally. But by and large, you only handed the keys to Kelsey Mitchell. You only handed the keys to Odyssey Sims. It's just the facts.
She's been through sort of the worst of the worst, for lack of a better term, in and out of the building, growing pains with getting the organization back. You don't get back.
Sandy Brondello's track record speaks volumes. Known for her strategic brilliance and ability to develop talent, her appointment in Toronto was heralded as a great hire. For Caitlin Clark fans watching the Indiana debacle unfold, Brondello represented a breath of fresh air, a coach who would undeniably recognize and build around a generational talent like Clark. Her reputation suggested a coach who would foster a system where Clark could truly thrive, free from the political baggage plaguing the Fever. This move created an irresistible hypothetical. What if Clark played for a coach who genuinely wanted to unleash her potential?
Do it. We take our things and we leave and let you do you, and we can go do us somewhere else. Ultimatum, Caitlin Clark called an agent. Ultimatum. Y'all want them or y'all want me? I'm fine with either answer. Y'all want Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell, or do y'all want me? Simple as that. Simple as that right there. We're not about to sit here and play no games. Who the hell are you talking to? Who are you talking to? You came here because of Caitlin Clark, trying to capitalize off her clout and her fame.
The moment Sandy Brondello's Toronto job was announced, the calls for Caitlin Clark to take our talents to Canada began. The idea was simple yet revolutionary. Escape the toxic Fever situation and join a coach who would truly build a team around her. The narrative shifted from frustration with Indiana to fervent hope for a future in Toronto. Fans envisioned Clark as the cornerstone of Brondello's new expansion team, finally getting the opportunity to be the undisputed #1 option she deserved. The move presented itself as the ultimate power play, a strategic exit from a team that failed to appreciate her.
This is business. This isn't feelings. We're not giving out gold stars. For all you hung around, here's a gold star. Here are the keys to the castle. Oh, I feel bad of all that she's been through here in the Indiana. Now that Caitlin Clark's here, got some attention, got this team playing above their means. Now here are the keys to the castle. Doesn't work like that, coach.
We love her. We want to continue to build, around her and continue for her to have success.
Build around Kelsey Mitchell. I know I heard that wrong. Let me just wipe off my glasses. We're going to stop it right there. We could keep going.
The Fever's management and coaching staff were accused of profound betrayal. They capitalized on Caitlin Clark's unprecedented fame, yet seemingly refused to build around her. You came here because of Caitlin Clark trying to capitalize off her clout and her fame. One commentator fumed, perfectly encapsulating the widespread sentiment. The team that owed its sudden relevance and massive viewership to Clark was now openly prioritizing another player, demonstrating a complete disregard for the very reason their seats were filled. This wasn't just poor management, it was an act of profound disrespect towards their most valuable asset, creating an untenable situation.
Who the hell are you talking to? Who are you talking to? You came here because of Caitlin Clark, trying to capitalize off her clout and her fame. What are you talking about? We building around Kelsey Mitchell. Are you drunk? This lady's a snake. She's a bonehead. She has no idea what she's doing, but it's okay. Caitlin Clark just needs to leave the Indiana Fever. Let's take our talents to Canada with Sandy Brondello. Let them do their thing over here. Let them do their thing. Let them do their thing. Caitlin Clark made Indiana Fever cool. The Fever wasn't cool. What are you talking about? Y'all wasn't lit. What nobody...
Before Caitlin Clark arrived, the Indiana Fever were a forgotten franchise, playing in front of 6,000 and 7,000 people in an empty gym. They were not cool, nobody checking for y'all. They consistently landed back-to-back #1 picks because they had been at the bottom for a while. This history starkly contrasted with the present, emphasizing how Clark alone transformed their fortunes. To claim Kelsey Mitchell carried the franchise before Clark was dismissed as absurd. Given their consistent losing record, Clark made them relevant. Her departure would undoubtedly return them to obscurity.
Playing basketball? And Cece's in the game? I'm driving this. What's with the allegiance? Kelly Krauskopf. Kelly Krauskopf. Kelly Krauskopf was the Fever president at the time they drafted Kelsey Mitchell. She has an allegiance to Kelsey Mitchell. They go way back. She wants credit for finding Kelsey Mitchell back in the day to prove to everybody else she made the right decision back then, drafting Kelsey Mitchell. That's what this is.
Stephanie White's coaching decisions were consistently scrutinized for undermining Clark. Pundits pointed out how White would call hero ball when Clark took shots, but gave ultimate green light to others like Odyssey Sims and Kelsey Mitchell. This double standard was infuriating for fans, suggesting a deliberate attempt to limit Clark's influence while empowering other players. The coach's perceived inability or unwillingness to adapt her system to Clark's transcendent talent became a major point of contention, leading many to believe that Clark could never reach her full potential under White's leadership. It was a clear tactical misfire.
Let them do their thing. Let them do their thing. Caitlin Clark made Indiana Fever cool. The Fever wasn't cool. What are you talking about? Y'all wasn't lit. Well, nobody checking for y'all. Y'all was playing in a damn barn a few years ago. What are you talking about? Y'all got it twisted, man.
I thought she was so instrumental in everything that we did. You lose everybody that we lost, and Kelsey Mitchell just kept getting better and better and better as the year progressed. And I think
you also gave her the green light to get better and better and better. Anytime Caitlin Clark shot the ball, you was calling it hero ball. But when it came to Odyssey Sims and Kelsey Mitchell, you gave them the ultimate.
The chorus of voices urging Caitlin Clark to call her agent right now grew louder with each controversial statement from the Fever. It wasn't just talk, it was a desperate plea for her to initiate a trade and get the hell up out of there immediately. Fans believed her future, her legacy, and her happiness depended on escaping the current environment. This wasn't a rash decision. It was seen as a necessary move for self-preservation, a demand for the respect and opportunity she was being denied. The urgency was undeniable. Her career was at stake if she stayed.
It's an ego thing, as much as that is a diminishing thing, but they're only diminishing because of their ego. We'll see what kind of off-season moves get made this season, this time around. Are they actually building towards a championship team around Caitlin Clark? Or are they building towards a championship team around Kelsey Mitchell with Caitlin Clark being Sue Bird 2.0? And I'm telling you right now, Kelly, Steph, Amber, nobody wants to watch Sue Bird 2.0. Nobody.
Toronto, under Sandy Brondello, offered a tantalizing vision, a clean slate, a new team built precisely for Caitlin Clark. This wasn't about sharing the spotlight or battling internal politics. It was about being the undisputed centerpiece, the foundation of an entirely new franchise. Brondello's reputation for fostering winning cultures and maximizing talent perfectly aligned with what Clark needed. The Toronto Tempo could be Clark's team, her opportunity to escape the diminishing tactics of Indiana and finally have a coaching staff and front office truly committed to her success. It was the promise of unbridled potential. Caitlin Clark now faces an agonizing choice: remain with an organization that seems determined to undermine her, or seek a new path, potentially in Toronto, where she could become the true cornerstone. The question loomed large. Y'all want Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell, or do y'all want me? This wasn't just a career decision. It was a statement about her worth, her legacy, and her future in the WNBA. The pressure was immense, the stakes incredibly high. Her next move would define not only her own career, but potentially reshape the landscape of the entire league for years to come. The storm is brewing, and the WNBA is watching. The conflict between Caitlin Clark's unparalleled talent and the Indiana Fever's baffling allegiance to its past has reached a boiling point. Sandy Brondello's move to Toronto creates an irresistible alternative, a shining beacon for a player whose star is too bright to be dimmed. Will Clark endure a team that fails to put her first, or will she make the bold move, demanding a trade to a coach and organization ready to unleash her full potential? The future of WNBA stardom hangs in the balance, waiting for Clark's next monumental decision.